Hello, CEP 200 students, and welcome to Unit 4 of the course. We are really just flying through this course. We have a total of 6 units plus a conclusion unit. So before you know it, this semester it's going to be, done. Um, I hope that this far, if there have been any questions or concerns about anything in the course or any of the materials or anything, that you have contacted me with that. I've been pretty good with getting back to emails, usually within the first few hours, if not within the first 24 hours. That's something that I do usually make a priority. So, if you have any questions or concerns, again, please feel free to contact me. So let's just jump right into the unit video. So I do want to say thank you for your patience while I'm finishing up grading some of the Unit 2 assignments. It's not like me to put things off to the last minute or anything, but I have not been feeling very well, so I've had some doctor's visits and whatnot over the last couple of weeks. So thank you very much for your patience and all of that. And I am going to be, using tonight to grade. And like I said, if your assignment is not graded by tonight, please count on it being completed by tomorrow. Excuse me. So for Unit 3, you read up on rehabilitation counselors and career counselors, and that would be chapters 4 and 11 in your textbook. You watched the short video of the art of rehabilitation counseling, and you did watch the not the YouTube video, well, YouTube video, but the TED Talk, The Voices in My Head with Eleanor. So then you had a couple of supplemental reading materials, and then you submitted your Unit 3 assignment, your quiz number 2, and then also you should have posted the resource list within the discussion board. So I know that this was a very jam-packed unit. I do want to note I did get a couple of emails from students about their quiz grades and about how they were marked wrong on a particular question. When they had actually answered correctly. And so my response to students have been that I actually have to go through and manually take a look at this because UB Learns can be very sensitive to grammar or anything of that nature. So it seems that it depended on whether or not you used a capital letter for the first letter of each of those words. So I will go through and I will take a look at those and make sure that everyone gets credit who answered those correctly. And so the other thing I wanted to talk about in Unit 3 is the resource list. So I know that I talked about this in my last unit video, but just to talk about it again, as far as the purpose for the resource list. So we're getting to a point in the semester now where you should really be thinking about the kind of counseling professional that you want to interview for your final paper. So with that being said, if you haven't taken a look at the syllabus in a while, there is a final project of interviewing a counseling professional. So this paper is going to be due as of December 6th. And what I am going to recommend is that you really start looking at the resource lists now and find a counseling professional that you can schedule an interview with. The reason I say that is because you would be surprised with how jam-packed the schedules are of a lot of counselors. Not only that, but when we're taking a look, if you're looking at just your resource list assignment, sure, there looks like tons of counselors, but not all of the if you have a specific counselor in mind that you would like to interview, that's not to say that that particular counselor that's on your list is going to be able to meet with you. So please go on, take a look at some resource lists, make some contacts, reach out, because you wouldn't believe how many emails I get from students telling me that they were not able to interview a professional in a timely manner. So please, please, please go and do this. Also take into account that students are going to be reaching out to these professionals regarding internships for the next semester. So they're going to be swamped. So they're really going to appreciate if you are able to kind of schedule something. If you want to go ahead and do the interview now, that's totally okay, and then write the paper up later. However you want to do it, I just really want to get you guys thinking about this project. So the purpose, again, of the resource list assignment was for you to go and share your professionals with your classmates. So if they aren't able to get an interview with the counseling professional of their interest that they put on their resource list, that you have 70 other people who have created resource lists and might have someone that might interest you that has the availability to meet with you. So if you have any questions about that, take a look at the syllabus, and again, feel free to reach out to me and ask me any questions. But please, 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 let's jump on that. So taking a look at discussion board number 4. So not discussion board number 4, I'm sorry, unit 4, which includes discussion board number 4. So for unit 4, you're going to read chapters 5 and 8 in your textbook. So this particular unit, we are going to really learn about child and adolescent counselors and marriage, couples, and family counselors. We are going to be touching on something in this unit that I am very, 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 very passionate about. And I know that we talked a little bit about trauma-informed care in our previous unit, but that is going to tie directly to some of the materials that we talk about in this unit, and that is the Adverse Childhood Experiences study. So what you're going to do is you're going to read those 2 chapters from your textbook. You are going to read the article in the unit folder titled The ACEs Prevalence Study. And then you're also going to read Adams and Paxton, Charles, Thomas, and Thornton. Those are two separate articles. I made it sound like they're one. And then you are also going to watch yet again another TED Talk. And this is Dr. Nadine Burke Harris. And this is about how childhood trauma affects health across a lifetime. We are then going to submit Unit 4 assignment and complete discussion board number 4. So discussion board number 4 is really reflecting on the TED Talk about the Adverse Childhood Experiences study. And how this relates to trauma-informed care is, so these are a little bit backwards as far as the course goes. So adverse childhood experiences can be you'll learn a little bit about them, but any adverse experience that a child, experiences at a young age. And so the initial ACEs study examined 10 different factors of what an adverse childhood experience actually is. So that could be abuse, whether it be emotional, physical, or sexual abuse. Neglect, which could be physical neglect or emotional neglect, maybe sometimes both, and then other household challenges. So that could be the child witnessed domestic violence between their parents, or one of their parents had a mental illness, or one of the parents had a substance abuse diagnosis or used substances, or even if the parent was incarcerated. So I think I might have named all 10, but that's 8 or 9 out of 10 of the actual factors that they were looking at. This study has evolved immensely since the original 1998 study. And Dr. Nadine Burke Harris is a big part in that. She's actually a pediatrician out of California. And I don't know if this has been coming up on your Facebook posts, but I have been seeing a lot of people share on social media about the first female Surgeon General. That woman is actually Dr. Nadine Burke Harris. And what her biggest proposal is yet, or right now, since she just got, elected into that position, is to be screening children for childhood trauma. And the reason for that is because trauma can affect you for the rest of your life. And the ACEs study in particular took a look at how adverse childhood experiences can affect your physical health long term. So the higher your ACEs score, the more likely you were to, have chronic diseases such as like heart disease or, different kinds of physical impairments or diseases or things like that. And, we can kind of make the the correlation that this is also going to affect their mental health for the rest of their life as well. So this is something that I really, really am passionate about, and it's definitely something that is very, very important in the counseling profession. So the reason that I included it in this unit is because we are talking about child counselors, family counselors, and that kind of thing, and that this is really important to not only these counselors, because the ACEs study really it looks at trauma in childhood mostly. However, the first study that was conducted was actually, I believe the sample size was about 17,000 adults from California who were mostly white, middle class, and college educated. And what they found was at least 70% of these families, or these individuals rather, had at least one adverse childhood experience. So if we think about how if that sample size could have been so much more generalizable and took a look at other races and other ethnicities and cultures and socioeconomic statuses, we might see a dramatic change. It could be, less people experiencing an adverse childhood experience, but it's also very possible that we would see that more individuals had experienced at least one adverse childhood experience. So I'll stop ranting about this. Clearly, it's something that I very, very much enjoy. But yes, if you find that you really like this information in this unit, please let me know. I can give you some other materials. I actually just completed a trauma-informed care training at my full-time place of employment and spoke a lot about the adverse childhood experiences study, and then talked about pretty much the physical and physiological elements of the brain that are affected when an individual experiences trauma from a young age, and then how it affects them as they grow older, such as having difficulty building relationships with others, or difficulty with regulating their emotions and identifying their feelings and emotions and all of that kind of stuff. So again, you are going to go through, complete all of, the reading and watching material for the unit, and then you are going to complete the Unit 4 assignment, and then the unit or the discussion board number 4. So I think that is it. The assignments that I have graded so far for Unit 2 are looking pretty good. The only thing that I really want to take time to remind students of is really, really be expanding on your questions that you are being prompted with in your unit assignments. So I'm getting a lot of, responses saying, oh, I didn't really learn anything new, or, yeah, I don't have much of an opinion about this, but we really want to make sure that you do have an opinion, or if you don't have an opinion, just have something to say about it. This is really the opportunity in these unit assignments for you to be talking about what you're noticing in the material, or how you're feeling, your reflection, or something more you'd like to learn about it, because, we don't have the luxury of being in a classroom where questions can be asked out loud and we can have, open dialogue and stuff. So I know that the discussion boards are there to supplement that, but I really need to know that you are processing the material and you're really understanding it, and you should really be working to provide, really in-depth and descriptive responses to every question within your unit assignment. And so I've been pretty lenient at this point with not really taking off too many points when the answers have been brief and straight to the point. But I really need those people who might not be elaborating much to really try harder, because that's not going to be the case anymore. Because I really want to make sure that you're absorbing this material, because I'm not doing anyone any favors, and you're not doing yourself any favors if you're kind of just reading the material and then that's kind of just it, and you're very straight to the point when you're answering the prompt. So I mentioned earlier on in the semester, I think it was in my first video, I know that it's very easy to just give a direct answer to the prompt, no matter how I phrase the question. So if you can, please, please, please just make sure you're really working on a really good response and processing and providing insight and detail into every single question. But other than that, I think that's all that I had for this video. Let me just take a look and make sure. Yeah, I mean, for the next two units, it's not too work heavy, pretty much the same that what you've been experiencing. I think unit 3 was the heaviest for you. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please, 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 please feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'm really going to be working on having all of this stuff graded, and then also be grading throughout the next 2 weeks to have your resource lists, your quizzes and your unit assignments returned to you. So thank you for your patience, and please let me know if you need anything. All right? Okay, take care.